Hello everybody, my name is Ian Kirkpattrycake. I'm an author and robot, and today is number one. I am Fed posting today. If you can't tell, I'm dressed as a Fed. But don't tell anybody, okay? I'm supposed to blend in, alright? Blending. That's what the Feds do. They look like everybody else so well that you can't freaking tell that we're here. Alright, so I'm just letting you know so I don't have to, like, pretend I don't see you doing things that should be reported. Alright, so, but today is also, while we're at it, the kind of day where I'm gonna go over some, news items, technically, and it's the kind of stuff that I would love to have a panel of people to talk about. By panel, I mean, like, two or three other people, so that we could do kind of just talk these items over, because this is really what would be super fun. But the people, I only know like one person that I would really like to have on the panel, and we have literally 12-hour opposite hours, so I don't know how we're gonna do that. But someday, maybe, we'll have that version of things. But before we get started, number one, if you're new to the channel, please remember to like, share, subscribe if you like what I do on this in this area place. Also, if you've got news items related to creativity specifically, because that's mostly what I focus on here, that and ranting, or you have any book related or storytelling related stuff that you would like me to cover on this channel, also let me know, because I would like to help you guys out wherever I can. Number two, check if you would like to be featured on this channel. That's what it is. If you would like to be featured on this channel, check out in the description below the Lamoille challenge and Pitch Fit. Two different things for two different purposes, both still open. The Pitch Fit for the last Pitch Fit of the year will be done at the end of December, so if you are interested in participating in that, check that out. There are a handful of topics today. I'm not sure how long this is going to take, and some of them might get a little spicy, but the first one is not spicy. We'll start with the most mild of them all, and probably the shortest topic of discussion today of all, and that is that Spotify announced that they have acquired Findaway Voice. Now, Findaway Voice is a independent website that allows you to publish your audiobooks. It is kind of a competitor to ACX, and also has a wider range of people in its distribution net. If I'm honest, I've gotten more sales through Findaway than I have through ACX, and I think that is especially because Findaway is connected to libraries, because I've had quite a few library sales in Findaway. So, you know, if you're interested in reading any of my books, you can just request them at your libraries, and your libraries could 100% get them. Anyway, Spotify has announced getting Findaway, which means that audiobooks may soon be available on Spotify, and that net within Findaway might also expand to Spotify for those distributing their audiobooks. Now, if you are somebody who has gone ACX exclusive, this isn't going to matter to you, because ACX exclusive means that you're stuck in your contract with ACX for 7 years from the day that you published your audiobook through ACX, so you're not even eligible for Spotify/Findaway with that book until your contract is over and you change the terms of your contract to no longer be exclusive. And that, again, is going to be 7 years from the time that you first published your audiobook with ACX. If you're non-exclusive, then you can go ahead and go on to Findaway and reap whatever benefits that gives you if you're not already there. And in future productions, you can also go through Findaway. They don't charge you to upload anything, they just take a cut like anybody else. And so there's that. What does this exactly mean for Findaway? Nobody knows yet, because more information about this has not come out. And how long it'll be until you start seeing audiobooks on Spotify, this article doesn't even say yet. It just says it is something that is going to be moving forward. If you scroll down in here, together with Spotify, we have the opportunity to innovate and democratize the audiobook ecosystem, said Findaway founder and CEO Mitch Kroll. We founded Findaway with the recognition of the power of spoken word through audiobooks and the unique opportunity to empower storytellers and connect them with listeners. We look forward to combining our leading technology tools and world-class team with the reach of Spotify's platform to provide an enhanced audio experience for creators, publishers, and listeners around the world. So all that we really know is they have been acquired, and there will be developments in Spotify for audiobooks. That is all. Good, bad, who knows? Who knows? But it is just one more company merging with a bigger company. Has Spotify been good for Joe Rogan? He'd have to tell us. He did make a couple $1 million off of that deal, though. The next thing is about a month old at this point, but I did want to cover it. I've just kind of been thinking about how I wanted to cover this. So because I don't really know Jamie McGuire. Obviously, I'm not like I sometimes read romance books-ish style, like, and apparently erotica. Look at that freaking. I'm looking at you book review I did whenever that was recently. I'm currently technically also reading a romance as a side thing about lemon bars, but I'll get to that eventually later someday. I know I'm all over the place, but Jamie McGuire, I think, has kind of been a big deal in indie publishing, self-publishing for romance authors, because if you go to her Goodreads page here, she's got over 600,000 ratings, almost 30,000 reviews, and she self-published this book in 2011. So she was pretty early on in the self-publishing ring, specifically for romance novels, and her books took off. I think she has a fairly big, sorry, I'm fixing my colors because my face is just so blown out. I think she's got obviously a huge following. We go down here, and even on Goodreads, she's got 40.5 thousand followers, and that's just on Goodreads. And Goodreads is not even the same thing as like Amazon or anywhere else. Goodreads doesn't accurately depict how many people have read your book or really read your book, because it's another social media website, and a lot of people that do read don't necessarily use Goodreads. So, that's a lot said. But anyway, Jamie McGuire, as far as I know, is a fairly big name in romance. Obviously has a lot of love for her book. It's got over a 4-star rating with over 600,000 ratings. Like, that is a feat. That is a feat. I mean, especially when you've got, like, dysfunctional people in your story, which apparently hers is a sort of dysfunctional romance, but it is hard to keep up, like, I guess it is mildly easier when you're in a niche. This is one of the things that I always look at when I'm on Goodreads and I look at, like, the big books. Can you just freaking imagine if you had 11,000 people currently reading your book with 400,000 going to read your book, and already with your 600,000, like, that's, if you combine the 2 reads with the ratings, that's only a fraction of who is following her. Anyway, so now that I've established that she's got a very large following and a lot of people like her book, let's go back to that initial article, which is that she has got a movie adaptation for her book coming. It just cast recently, and it has Dylan Sprouse from Disney Channel and some other people. And so let me just start off by saying, 1, I've never read this book again. 2, I don't know anything about Jamie McGuire other than what I've picked up, obviously, by doing the research in preparation for this discussion. And 3, I also picked some of the most biased websites that I could to talk about this, which include the Mary Sue, and there's Deadline over here. That's to talk about this. So why exactly are we talking about Jamie McGuire? It's because when her book became public on Twitter, that she was getting a movie option for her book. Of course, Twitter did what it does, and it went on she's a racist rampage. She's a white supremacist rampage. And it's not dissimilar to what happened with the RWA shit show a couple of years ago, when people were just being dragged for their comments. Now, I will say, Jamie McGuire's messages that are quoted in this are a bit abrasive. They do come off as mildly abrasive. I've seen the same level of abrasion, if not worse abrasiveness, in the responses to the Kyle Rittenhouse trial these last couple of days. So don't even catch me on that abrasiveness. Can we just, number one, tone down the anger from like literally everybody right now? Literally everybody. I'm a super chill person, okay? And I cannot deal with the vitriol from all directions, okay? Leave me alone. I just want to tell stories, just want to read stories. If you don't like this kind of book, if you don't like this kind of story, then don't freaking read it. At your worst, just freaking comment on why you don't like it and move on. See, let's go back down here. Obviously, people don't like this. Anti-feminist. Tag. Mayhem and misogyny. Like, clearly, you can just don't like it and move on. But obviously, outstandingly, almost 300,000 people gave this a 5-star. So you can just dislike it. You can talk about how you don't like it, whatever. You do you. But can we stop trying to ruin people's lives because we don't like their political persuasions? So going through here, if you just look at the first thing that's mentioned at the top of this article, it is obviously a parlor picture, which I mentioned I think it was last year or earlier this year, one of the two. There was somebody going out trying to ruin the careers of literally any author they could find who was on Parler because they had a thing against Parler. Again, just go and live your life. Seriously, you do not. That was such a manipulation and like abusive tactic to be like, be in my house or I'm going to beat the crap out of you and try to make it so you can't work. Stop doing that. You told people to go and build their own stuff if you didn't want to play by the rules. They did, and then you try to destroy them. No. You don't get to exile people out of the house. Tell them to go build their own house, and when out of spite and hatred, and then when they do, you try to burn it down. Just stop, okay? Again, I am a fairly center person in a lot of things. I just want books to stop being political. Share your ideas, share your viewpoints, share your characters, share your vision, but stop making this some kind of political battle where books are meant to teach people things, specifically ideologies, and to shut out everybody else. I also think that it's very insulting for people to look at books and creators and creative people and go, well, this person is public, and so their behaviors are obviously going to inform literally everything all the time, and so they must be correct on everything all the time. Look. All of you that came after Jamie McGuire, you can maybe justify yourselves after I see you all go after Alec Baldwin for shooting a woman. And no charges pressed, still like 2 weeks later. I'm not trying to play games here, but like, bruh. He killed somebody with reckless use of a firearm. Can we? Okay, I'm just getting distracted here. Anyway, looking at Jamie's post here, she says, are you all watching the live feeds? I think this was January 6th from when the stuff was going down at the Capitol. And she says, this is just the beginning. Patriots will fight against fraud and tyranny. We might be looking at the beginning of a new civil war. Maybe I'm just dead on the side. Again, I'm a robot. Whatever. I don't remember anything less abrasive than that being said when people were charging the Capitol, running into buildings, banging on doors during Kavanaugh's hearing to become a Supreme Court justice. And there were other cases like that where the Capitol was overrun with protesters. And I also remember people cheering on the murder, death, and looting that was happening last year. So I really don't see anything in that. Sorry. Like, I wish we weren't at this point where we're talking about this kind of stuff. I've seen people say more vile things in the last 48 hours. Probably longer than 48 hours at this point. In the last month in regards to Kyle and Kyle Rittenhouse than this specific tweet from Jamie McGuire. So, calm your butthole. Now, another thing that we can notice when we scroll down, one of the first comments is from Courtney Milan, and that is the shyster that was leading the charge, or part of what I understand as part of leading the charge for the RWA meltdown, and has continued to play that game. Now, I don't know Courtney Milan personally. I know that she did block me, even though we've never had any conversations whatsoever, and I'm happy to talk to literally anybody if you come in good faith. If you don't come in good faith, I don't want to do with you. But here she is again, saying the author of that book is an outspoken white nationalist who approves of using violence to attain her political aims. Courtney Milan, You gotta bring up the white nationalist. It doesn't mean anything anymore. People have called white nationalist, racist, whatever, ism for so long. They don't have any meaning anymore. And I'm so sick of the race hustlers trying to demonize people by bringing up some kind of ism with no evidence of anything. They just go, just believe me. Don't ask questions. Just believe me. You're selling racial tension. You're selling racial panic when there really isn't any, other than when you tell people that they're going to die for their race. Can we just stop with this stuff? I'm at the point where anybody that says some kind of ism like this, okay, you pedophile. Like, that's literally where I'm at. I remember the last time I talked about Courtney Milan, and I was called a racist because I was wearing a sweater that was off-white, and the camera lights blew it out and made it look white, but apparently still wearing a hoodie that's a bright color is inappropriate, especially if you're talking about criticisms towards somebody who is not 100% white. I don't understand all of the rules. Apparently you have to wear specific clothing if you're going to criticize people, but also you're not allowed to be a certain race if you're going to criticize people. So, can somebody point me to the PDF of all of the rules? That'd be great. Anyway, continuing down, I have no idea who Kaylee Donaldson is. Oh goody, one of the most staggeringly misogynistic romance novels I've ever read, written by an anti-vaxxer, MAGA-loving racist who supported the Capitol taxes getting a movie because fuck everything, right? See, again, so it's just trying to politically drag people on the dumpster fire that is Twitter. Can we just stop being so angry? I am pretty sure that Twitter is just full of bots and dead people at this point. And then you go down to Rami Gallant, who is also quoted in here with Beautiful Disaster author Jamie McGuire on the 6th, and she just says the tweet that was at the top. So what's the big deal here? To talk about half of the stuff this woman has said would need its own article, McGuire remains a horrid person with a popular series from 2012 rivaling bad fanfic. From Mary Sue, I've seen the kind of stuff that you like. Don't even talk to me about bad fanfic, okay? She cites debunked crime stats and conspiracy theories ranging from blatantly rehashed anti-Semitic to anti-COVID safety on every platform she resides. McGuire spews racist, sexist, homophobic, transphobic, and all-around hate garbage. But lest you point that out and you'll be called the actual racist. But again, we've got the same... This is also the same recycled trash finger mudslinging that we've seen again and again and again for more than 6 years. It's been going on for a while, but it amped up in the last like 6-7 years. But just looking at this, you can see that this is entirely about politics, entirely dragging somebody for politics and wanting them to suffer because they don't concede to the party. And I am so sick of this trash. Scroll down and the Mary Sue just talks about no one asked for this, but apparently, at least 300,000 people asked for this, please. She's got a serious following. So can we just recognize generally what movie making mostly isn't always, because we can see stuff that are vanity projects in mainstream media and in movies and in book selling too. But can we just recognize that this clearly has an audience, an enjoying audience? Even if you don't like it, it clearly has an audience. And that's what the bottom line is here. Don't make your arguments out of lies. You don't have to like this person. Also, this goes back to, what is it, the Woody Allen thing that I did a while ago now? People don't get book deals or success because they're great people. People aren't given chances because they are some kind of hive mind of morality. And that is what this is trying to do, and that is what it tried to do to Woody Allen. I'm not saying anybody is a good person in any of these situations, but you don't get book deals because you're a good person. You don't get movie deals because you're considered a moral person by who? By Hollywood? By some agent somewhere in California determines that you are morally correct enough to get a deal, to get a job? No, that is such an insane standard to create, that you have to be a morally good person by some inane standard that nobody knows in order to have any level of success. That has never been the case for publishing. That has never been the case for movies. In fact, there's a reason that California is called a swamp. There's a reason that so many people come out of California, and especially child acting, end up with mental disorders Look at what has been done to Britney Spears for how long now? Don't tell me that success and opportunity in California or entertainment is based on being morally correct. It's not. And when you set that sort of standard and you say only the people that we deem as correct are allowed to succeed, you're not creating anything but a new church where you are now the chaplains saying who gets into heaven and who doesn't. No, this is livelihood. This is humanity. Get over it, because the people that there are so many people that would see you as immoral and say you don't deserve anything. Nobody should have to hear your voices. And would you be okay with your opponent being the chaplain of the church that says you are allowed to have success or a voice or not? No. So can we just take the emotion out of this and look at the situation as it is? Clearly, people want this. Clearly, there is an audience. It doesn't have to be you. There are so many movies. Pretty much every movie out there, made every year, is not for me. I don't like most movies. That doesn't mean that there is not somebody calling for it. And I bring this up also specifically because then you get to, if you go to Twitter, it's going to be a cesspool of just insults, but also the Deadline article, which I'll link in the description below. It's just full of these comments that are white supremacist, white nationalist, racist, blah, 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 blah. And anybody that says, oh, hey, I'm looking forward to this, some rando comes in and says, hey, do you know that this person is an ist or a phobe? Can you just not? I don't understand why these people don't have something better to. I say I don't understand, but these are just foot soldiers. I wonder if they're scripted robots that just go around looking for key search words to just insert this trash. Or if these are really this level of ideological that they do nothing but search around the internet for somebody that they don't like so that they can comment on literally every single post and just drop an ist or an ism. Look, go do something more productive with your time. Go and learn some macrame or something. I'm so sick of this. Okay, anyway, I'm just repeating myself now. It's again more shenanigans of somebody trying to cancel somebody else because they've got the wrong opinions. And again, I'm not saying that Jamie McGuire is a good person. I don't know anything about Jamie McGuire. I don't know anything about her past. I don't know anything about her now. But that doesn't mean that she should be canceled, that she should be unable to move forward, get opportunities, have her book turned into a visual art. This is like treating life the same way people treat the afterlife, where if you're morally correct enough, if you do enough good favors, you get another gem on your crown, or you get your own planet if you're Mormon. Just calm down. Okay? We're not God. And it's okay if people like things that you don't like. I can't believe we're not only just still talking about this kind of racist trash over here of canceling people for these opinions, but it's only gotten worse in the last couple of years. I'm so exhausted with this stuff. Okay, so now going from one ideological thing to the next. I don't know if you saw, but Earthworm Jim is getting a new TV series. I don't know a whole lot about it, but I did want to bring it up to segue into the other topic of the day, and that is counterfeiting intellectual property into ideological propaganda, and that is taking existing intellectual property, characters, storylines. We've seen this for a while, especially with remakes, and then just redoing them with ideological bends in all of them, and just disgracing, not even just disgracing, but raping and pooping on the actual originals of that stuff. So with the new Earthworm Jim, they're just taking the initial character design and changing the character entirely, changing the story entirely, so it is nothing like it was when it was adored. I never read the comic. I did play the first and second games on the PCs back in the 90s, the early 2000s, one of the two. I had a little action figure with Petey. I think he got lost when I moved from Alaska, but I had a little Pete action figure, and I say little, but I had the Rabid Pete and the normal Pete. I always liked him. Though the bouncing puppy levels made me so uncomfortable because they were just flat on the ground. Anyway, we're seeing a lot of this, and there is so much disgrace and disdain for the original items and the creators, the original storylines, the original characters, and the creators of this content in these people that are taking these IPs and rewriting them for ideological purposes, that it is so disgusting. I'm pretty sure from what I've seen, and I haven't done a whole lot of background searching because I don't like to just internet stalk people, but it looks like there's not a great relationship between the original author of one of the original creators of Earthworm Jim, which is Doug TenNapel, and then the new creators of it. And even when you get further down here, you see them distancing themselves from it. TenNapel has a history of anti-LGBT views, speaking out against marriage equality and misgendering a transgender journalist. And if you go over to Twitter, you'll see people saying, well, I wouldn't have watched this if it was connected to Doug, but I will if it's not, because that guy is a bad guy. And so they're courting people politically with content that is not original in order to then make it political content, and it's trash. Now, in the news of also urinating and violating and disgracing IP that is not originally theirs, let's talk about Netflix's Cowboy Bebop, which this goes pretty far back. First, starting with the star, Daniela Pineda, I don't know. I'm not very good at names, okay? Who trash-talked fans months ago because they changed the design. Netflix changed the design of Faye Valentine. Now, if you don't like this character, if you don't like this story, then why bother with it? Other than, one, ideological. You're counterfeiting intellectual property, recognizable characters to rewrite them with whatever kind of bend you want to have them. You don't care about the original story. You're not doing this as a labor of love. That's one of the things that I liked about Scott Pilgrim, is that you could tell it was worked on, produced by somebody that really liked it. It didn't have to be the greatest thing ever, but you could tell that it was fan-made. And that's also one of the things when you look at YouTube videos or short films that are inspired by, or you know, like the Star Trek ones even, that are fan-made, is it's a labor of love. It's got that quality, it's got that heart, because it's made by somebody who loves the characters, loves the IP, loves the storyline, and wanted it to extend it. That's also one of the benefits that comes with when you're looking at actual fan fiction, is it's not people generally writing stuff to get famous or to get a bunch of money. They're writing things because they love the characters, they love the story, they want more. And that is one thing that I can really enjoy about fan fiction, is it's people who genuinely want to be there versus maybe people who are writing because they want to make $1 million or they want to do a bunch of garbage books and then just sell a backlog without actually caring about the art of it. So, with that said, getting into this, I don't think it's a good move to go and shit on your user base, your fan base, the fan base of the show that you are currently counterfeiting, and that is what I consider all of this stuff to be. So she says, I felt like that response was definitely in the spirit of Faye. You know what is not in the spirit of Faye? Your outfit. So what happened is she got criticism because of the changes to the character, and that were made to Faye's character. And instead of just accepting it, she decided to insult all of the people and just also call them trolls, but pretty much insult them. In my opinion, when you look at this stuff, it just reads like a power trip of saying, look at what I have and look at what you can't do about it. It's not endearing, it doesn't build fans for your base, and it's nothing but somebody who thinks that they're better than you, dunking on you, saying, I have something you can't have, and look what I'm gonna do with it. It's no different than somebody, like, if she had come into your house and, like, took your belongings and then wiped her ass with it. That is how this action reads. And we go further into, like, everything about Cowboy Bebop is just so bad. The more that you learn about these people, and Netflix has never actually been well known to respect the IPs that they take, but the more you learn about what they're doing with this stuff, the worse it looks. So, I also wanted to bring up how they changed Ren, and most specifically, I want to bring up this headline that says, Cowboy Bebop star Mason Alexander says the show is righting the wrongs of the anime. Now, that does not sound like somebody who enjoyed the anime, who was a fan of the anime. It is somebody taking something that is wildly popular, criticizing it, and ripping apart and saying, this is how I would do it if I was whatever. It is so disrespectful. And to get further just into this, you completely change a character, you completely change the mindset, and you don't even just reimagine it, but you say, you were wrong, you were morally wrong, you were creatively wrong, but I'm here to fix it for you. Sweetie, this wasn't your project, this wasn't your world, these weren't your characters, and maybe I'm more sensitive to this than you people, and I'm talking about whoever these counterfeit rewriters are, because you're not making original content, so you don't know what it's like when somebody takes your characters and says, fuck you, you're wrong, I'm going to fix your stuff because I'm morally correct. No, honey, no. I'd say I don't know why they keep taking things that they obviously don't like, that they even obviously have disdain for, but again, it is these people that are saying, I don't like you. I'm gonna take stuff that you like, and then I'm gonna wipe my ass on it right in front of you where you can't do anything. To me, it is such a disgraceful, disgusting personality to have, such a disgusting viewpoint to have, and you deserve nothing but criticism and disdain for the way that you treat intellectual property, the way you treat fans, the way you treat storytelling, and the way you treat creativity in general. It is not there for you to put yourself in like you're freaking Ed Gein in a woman suit, and to act like you are the same thing while spouting ideological trash, okay? The human experience is much more connecting than anything ideological, and you are actively trying to destroy the connection that we have through the art of storytelling. What is something that has connected generations and cultures throughout the ages? It is the human experience. It is tales of the community. It is all of that, and instead you're boiling down these human stories, these stories of adventure or trauma or anything, and you're turning them into political, ideological drivel in a human suit, okay? I have a quote for this, I swear, from my upcoming book, Boom. It says, yesterday you asked if America was the land of the free, but as far as I can tell, it hasn't been that way for a while. They wrap this shithole in a flag of red, white, and blue, like a cannibal wearing a corpse of his victim, expecting no one will say he's a freak in a meat suit that doesn't connect to his face, and we can see the fake hands slapping on top of his real hands, trying to hide the knife he's going to kill us with. I hope you're visceral. On top of that, let's not forget that we got whoever these people are, these Americans, are culturally appropriating a Japanese story and then wagging their finger and bad-mouthing them for being morally wrong. These are the same people that won't let you have cornrows if you're not the right skin color. But I digress. Gonna go a little bit further. This is gonna be a quick part of the Cowboy Bebop thingamajig. They are keeping Radical Ed out of the show until season 2, it looks like. And if they make Radical Ed non-binary, again, can we talk about the erasure of women? This is so unbelievable to me, specifically from people that say gender has no whatever, that you'll then see an atypical female character and then say that character can't be female because she doesn't look or act like what you expect a typical female to act like. I feel like I've been having this issue with Joey in some places because she doesn't act like a typical female. And it is mildly insulting if you have an atypical female and then they're only described as not like other girls. So what you want every girl to act a certain way, and if they don't, then they're trying to be something else. How about just accepting people for who they are as they are, instead of saying women have to act this way, girls have to act this way, and if you don't act this way, then you're either trying too hard or you're not a girl. Excuse me, I'm not the one that has the problem with these gender expectations that are so stingent of you must fit into this line, or you're not XY. Or XX, I guess, in this case. Anyway, I don't know what they're gonna do with this. I would not be surprised if they randomly, by they I mean the show team, if they make Radical Ed non-binary, but she's not, and that is female erasure, and you're taking away female characters who do not meet female expectations, and you are basically telling females and women and girls that it is not okay to not meet gender expectations, because if you do that, we will not consider you a female anymore. So, excuse me. And then I just wanted to cover this briefly because there are 2 authors listed in this article, but this is Hollywood celebrities take to social media to share their thoughts on Kyle Rittenhouse, which, it's a trip. If you want to feel like you're high without actually the benefit of the drug, you can go and read over these people's messages. But I did want to bring this up specifically because Roxane Gay is in here, so she's an author, so I can consider this part related to creative content, right? And she says, I knew Rittenhouse would be acquitted, but it's gutting to witness the inevitable, to know there will be no consequence for the judge, and to know that Rittenhouse and others like him will be more emboldened to be openly white supremacist vigilantes. It's hollowing. You don't know what you're talking about, Roxane Gay. You're not only a bad feminist, you're a bad human being for doing this. And that's only to be followed up by Stephen King, who hasn't been a very good human being for a while. at least outwardly. Maybe he is better in his social life, but I only see him seething with hatred. And you know, Stephen King, I don't want to make any judgment calls on you as a person or whatever, but you're kind of toxic. And so I hope whatever is bugging you on the inside, maybe you're already dead. Like I mentioned, everybody, like so many people on Twitter are already dead. Maybe you've fallen into the river Styx and you have become a ghost of vengeance. I hope you get help. And I hope whatever is driving you crazy and angry leaves your life and you're able to find some peace, because you have so many problems. But here we see Stephen King comparing Kyle Rittenhouse to Eric Harris, one of the Columbine shooters, which is also so untrue, so disgusting, and so disgraceful to the actual Columbine shooting victims. Okay, Steve? I don't know how to tell you this. Maybe you need some antipsychotics if you're not on them. Also, I did want to mention that I've seen a number of people bring up call Kyle a mass murderer in headlines and in tweets and in whatever. And just so you know, a mass murderer is somebody who kills 4 or more people in one single location or during a continuous period. Legal definition, Kyle's not a mass murderer. You need to stop doing this. You need to step away from the internet and get out of your own psychotic bubble, okay? Again. This is gonna be the video that gets me canceled for just everybody. Let me calm down. I don't really have much else to say. I've already ranted about like 2 different major topics here. So, with all that said, let me know your thoughts down below. I'm sure I'm gonna get some hatred. I probably shouldn't actually check the comments on this one. But, good luck to us all. Also, on a happier note, hope you have a happy Thanksgiving. Thank you so much for watching. Don't die, I guess.
Was that Wayland Cross in the trunk? Do you know, or is that something that's still being figured out? The person in the trunk was not Wayland Cross. Is he in trouble? We don't know who did it, but as the owner of the car, the longer he's missing, the worse it looks for him. Cross isn't a killer. For the last couple of years, the average number of murders in Baltimore has been over 300, and it's been going up. Mind you, that's only whatever the badges count as official murder, and believe me, there are people that don't count when they die. Wayland? If you're down here, tell me. I'm not talking to the badges, I've been looking for you. They found a body in your trunk. Why? Did you do that? To the left, plain black letters read along the wall. You walked in the corridor. Once that ends, you chose the dark is on the right. My vision goes blurry, flickers black and black for longer intervals until I can't see anything at all. I'm not screaming anymore, but my voice echoes back to me. Where the hell am I? You're dead, Josephine. Even smart people do stupid shit sometimes, right?